I love when I love never winds up mine. I say, hey, little mama, hey, little girl, now why you gonna do me like this?
Welcome back, Riverview, to the 2018-19 school year. We're excited to have you back and get started. We wanted to touch base with you with a couple reminders and some new things in terms of, principal type kind of stuff. So I'm going to start off with attendance. Attendance is mandatory. You need to be in school. But seriously, you do need to be here. You need to be here on time. And if you're not, some nasty things can happen. So let's make sure that you're here. Anything more than 10 days absent that's excused or unexcused will require a doctor's excuse. Obviously, any absence requires parental excuse that you need to bring in within 3 days. Failure to follow these procedures starts off to get some letters sent home, some phone calls home, and ultimately ends up at the magistrate. We don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. See you in school.
Let's talk about tardies. You have to get to school on time. You have to get to class on time. Same as last year. You have to get into the building and seated in your first period class by 7:40 a.m. If those doors close, please don't complain that we closed the doors early or like this happened or that happened. If the doors close, you didn't make it. There's got to be an end point in time, and the end point in time is 7:40. So the doors will close. You have to be in your class on time. If you don't, you come into the front office, you sign your name in the book, and then you also sign your name in the detention book. Detentions have changed. We'll talk about detentions in a second, but you will get detentions for being tardy to school and being tardy to class. You have to get to your classes on time. And the reason is, it is the law that you have to be in class in your seat learning. In addition to that, if you have a job, you have to be there on time. You can't just go in whenever you want. So it's not in our best interest. We're not teaching you the right things if we don't say, be to class on time, be there when you need to be there. That's important information, and we're going to make sure, and the teachers are going to make sure that you adhere to that.
Early dismissals. Please be aware of when you need to leave early for doctor's appointments and things like that, because all requests for early dismissals must be submitted in writing. We cannot and will not take phone calls, text messages, emails. We need it in writing from your parents. We give you a little tablet at the beginning of the school year. If you run out of those, let us know. We can get you some more. But we need to have that. We will sign it, and you'll use that to get out.
Let's talk detentions. Detentions are a lot different this year. Detentions this year will run from 2:25 to 3:25. Detentions are 1 hour long.
Wait, did you say 1 hour?
1 hour long.
That's a lot longer than they used to be.
1 hour long. Detentions will run from 3:25. Remember, you get detentions for swearing, for consistent violations of classroom rules, for not getting to school on time, for not getting to your classes on time, some insubordination things. Those are what you get detentions for. The other important thing to note about detentions is there's no late bus after detentions. At 3:25, you must find your own ride home. In addition to that, detentions take precedence over after-school activities, sports, anything after school. So detentions this year run from 2:25 to 3:25. No excuses for that. And remember, you have to find your own ride home after detentions. The late bus will continue to go home at 2:55 like always. So if you're staying after and you're getting some extra support, you'll have the late bus to take you home. If you have a detention, there's no late bus to take you home. If you're from Verona, you have to walk or get a ride. And if you're from Oakmont, you walk home.
All right, the bring your own device and cell phone policies and some reminders here. So we got two different things. We all know that 9th through 12th graders get school-issued laptops. If you prefer to use your own laptop, that's what we call bring your own device. We got a little sheet of paper for you to fill out, parents to sign, so we know that you are bringing your own device and you don't want the school device. Cell phones, we know all the cell phone policies. No recording of people without their permission, no taking pictures without their permission. And by permission, I mean it's for class use, for some kind of project or something like that. Not you're doing it in the cafeteria and so said that they could. We don't want to see any picture taking or videos or audio recording in the cafeteria and study halls anywhere unless it's for a class with permission. Speaking of classes, it is up to the teachers whether or not they want you to be able to use your cell phones for educational purposes. You all know that many of the teachers have those little shoe things on their room where the cell phones go. That's where you're expected to put them. If you don't put it in there and it goes off, well, that's on you. You've now violated the policy and you're going to head down that road. If a teacher or an adult in the building asks you for your cell phone because you're not using it properly or you're using it in a place you're not supposed to be using it, you need to turn it over to them. It immediately comes to the office. You get a detention. At the end of your detention, you get your phone back. If you refuse to give an adult your cell phone when you're asked for it, that's an automatic in-school suspension, no questions asked, insubordination. So please, we're into 3 or 4 years now with allowing you to use your cell phones in a lot of different places. A lot of schools are banning cell phones. Please do not make us go back there. We would like to keep this policy as open as it is. Follow the rules. Do what you're supposed to do. Be smart about it.
Yeah, that all depends on you, for sure. And there's a little bit of a misnomer that it's your phone and you don't have to give up your phone. You have to give up your phone if a teacher asks you. As a matter of fact, when a teacher asks you something to do, you have to do it. You don't get to choose whether you do what a teacher asks you or you don't. When a teacher says goes,
Any adult
in the building, lunch aides, paraprofessionals, custodians, when an adult tells you what to do, you have to do it. You don't get to choose whether to listen or whether not to listen. That's insubordination. We're going to be really tough on that this year.
If you got a problem with it, do what they're asking. Come see us later.
Transportation. Transportation and buses are reserved only for Verona students. Verona students, you must take your assigned bus. You don't get to choose which bus you need to go on. Okay? If another student wants to ride a Riverview bus, you have to have written permission from your parents, the other person's parents, and permission from the school in order to ride the bus. Oakmont students, you cannot get on a Verona bus ever for any reason unless we have those signed permission slips. So please keep that in mind.
Transcripts. A little change to transcripts. This one's mainly for upperclassmen. We are only going to include grades, GPA on your transcripts. We are no longer including activities or test scores. That being said, if you're attending a school that needs to see those things on the transcripts or you want those on the transcripts, no problem, just let us know. But by default, only the grades and the GPA will be on the transcripts.
Headwear. There's no hats. There are no hoods, no bandanas, no do-rags, no hair pockets. None of those things are allowed in school. If you are going to be tempted by wearing a hood, tempted to put it up, don't wear it. Because anytime a teacher asks you to take that down, you're going to get an hour-long detention each time. So if you walk down the hallway and 3 teachers say, take your hood off, you take it off, you put it back on, you take it off, you put it back on, you can essentially get 3 detentions in 1 walk down the hall. You cannot have headgear. It's not because we don't like hats or we don't like bandanas. That's not the reason. The reason is when we look at the video in the hallways and people have their hoods up, we don't know who's who. That is a safety issue, and you should know before all other people that safety is of utmost importance right now. We have to be as safe as possible. So please follow the headwear rule. Keep your hands to yourself. You're not allowed to touch another student. High fives and handshakes only. There's no reason to touch another student in school. We take that very seriously. And finally, and this is the most important, be kind. Be kind to each other. Look out for each other. If you see somebody getting mistreated or you see somebody sitting by themselves, reach out to them, be nice, be kind, and look out to each other. We're very happy that you're back. We know it's going to be a great school year. We wish you the most of success. And without further ado, we will see you on Main Street. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.